Hi, everybody. My name is John DePietro.
And I'm Bob Zagami with the Camper Report Show.
And on this Camp Report show, we are going to get up close and personal with Austin Clark, one of the rising stars in the RV industry. I think you're going to enjoy that conversation.
Very interesting. I've got a team of people from the Route 66 RV network of independent dealers. It's going to be quite an interesting interview.
So here we go. We got manufacturers and dealers right here. Where, Bob?
Right here on the Camper Report Show.
Okay, stay with us, everyone. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Camper Report Show. My name is John DePietro. His name is Bob Zagami. And Bob, tonight we are going to talk about camping. And everybody loves camping after they get an RV, right?
Well, not only that, it's kind of they're coming out of cabin fever. They're getting the camping feeling. So everybody's getting ready for the camping season, and the stories abound this week. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And if you love camping, you may love parking at Love's. Now, not camping at Love's, but parking at Love's. And Love's is a national chain of truck stops that primarily cater to big rigs that are on the road, but they are adding RV spots at several of their locations for RVers that just need to stay over for the night, but not to camp there for a week.
Well, I was kind of surprised to learn that they had 700 locations in 42 states, because I don't think we see that many of them up in New England where, where we are, but they're certainly all over the country. And the fact that they've recognized all those RVs pulling in for gas and wanted to do something about the crowded accommodations that they kept reading about, they decided to have some full hookups, water, electricity, gas, and propane, and there a lot of them are parking spaces. Some have as few as 4 locations, but the largest one has 60 locations, and they're going to be continuing to add them. They're up to about 30 right now. They only started this in 2021, so as we were coming out of the COVID, actually it was right kind of in the middle of COVID. 30 or more locations we put in service this year. So they're going to get up to 50 or 60.
Yep.
And I think it's a logical extension of their services. And I think the RVers and the campers are going to really enjoy having that overnight accommodation, so they're not in the truck area of a truck stop. They're not on the side of the road somewhere. They're not in a Walmart or a Cracker Barrel parking lot. And they get the security of the big facility with a lot of activity, a lot of people.
24-hour well-lit activity. And I think they're taking some of the cue from their fellow truck stop operator, Flying J Pilot, which for years has catered to the RV audience, providing RV dump stations and water, and also had a separate area for RV parking. Now, only 2 or 3 or 4 spots, but you could still park there. The key to this whole thing is to not park where the trucks are, because those people are working, and you do want to stay away from that. And the average cost of this is about $35 to $40 per night. Now, consider one thing. If it's the summertime and you need to run your air conditioners, then you've got that electricity to do so, where otherwise, if you were just parked somewhere else, you'd have to run your generator. And the key to the whole thing is being safe and enjoying your journey. So Love's, and by the way, Love's is also famous, just like Buc-ee's, for clean restrooms. So with that being said,
they also, the hookups themselves are full hookups with dump stations, and some of them even have dog parks. Mm-hmm. So, and some other ones have other amenities like pickleball. I mean, pickleball is, if pickleballs has made it to Love's RV clubs, then it's a ride.
Yep.
Next thing you know, it'll be an Olympic sport.
Coming soon to a campground near you.
Right.
Because right now, I think people down in Florida play quite a bit, but it's not big in New England. But anyway, maybe that'll be the case.
I can tell you where we are, the people line up at the pickleball courts before the sun comes up. They get their golf carts in line. And as soon as that sun comes up, they're in line for the first
The golf
pickleball.
carts in line. Wow,
6:30 in the
wow.
morning. You know, it's those little things in life that get people excited.
Yeah. Well, we talk about what's big in New England, and pickleball isn't yet, but what is getting bigger and bigger in New England is a new group of RV resorts called Spacious Skies Campgrounds. And they're building and building. I think they've got 14 locations now from Maine down to Tennessee or South Carolina. But they've got a very interesting thing. We talked to their founder not too long ago, their co-founder, and one of the things that they're doing is they're realizing that they are not many times the destination themselves, but the destination has so many community events that are, within a short drive of the campground. Talk about this program called Spring Bloom Trail.
Well, it's interesting because they actually have a video, and it goes from Tennessee all the way up to Maine and points out their campgrounds, and then they list, because they want to be very friendly in the local community.
Yep.
They work with the small businesses in the local community.
Yep.
But they've got in this release that they have, they've actually got an event listed for every one of their campgrounds. Things like the Fayetteville Dogwood Festival, the Bigfoot Festival, Asheville Herb Festival. So they give you something for everyone, and you could, in fact, make a camping adventure starting in Maine and heading down to Tennessee and hitting all 14 parks and all of these
something to do.
And it's a great way to build a relationship with the parks themselves. And unlike some other big conglomerates that are out there, they don't rename the programs. Now, I don't know if they're going to in the future, but they are campgrounds, but they remain with the name that was on there that people were familiar with. For instance, the one in Massachusetts, Minuteman Campground, stays Minuteman Campground.
Yep. We will put a link down there below that you can take a look at all of their offerings and find out more about Spacious Skies. And while you're doing that, you might want to escape from the humdrum life of working every day. And the Escapees, one of America's largest camping groups, if you will, just celebrated their 45th anniversary with a giant 1,500 person rally in Tucson, Arizona.
Yeah, they're comparable to, and similar to FMCA, very large group catering to a lot of full-timers, but they also have a subgroup within the Escapees called Escapers, which they launched about 8 years ago.
Younger
30% of the people at the Escapees anniversary rally were Escapers. Now, these are working people, still working, but they travel a lot in the RV. They may not necessarily be full-time RVers, but already they're getting 30% of their rally from that group. And about half the rally, interesting enough, were first-time RVers to attend that particular
rally.
That's
amazing.
I found that to be an amazing number, of over half. And the others, they return year after year, but that's a very impressive number to have. And they're showing some growth each year, so that's another one that people may want to look at. But the big bulk of people has always been the retired people, but they've expanded very nicely. They got a very good education program, a lot of seminars, so it's a popular community, that's for sure.
I attended one of their events a few years ago, and very fast-going activities. Not a lot of sitting around and around the campfire stuff. Although there is that, but they keep you busy throughout the day. They keep you as busy as you want to be. You need to understand, and I'm sure you do, Bob, that when these events take place, they overschedule the number of events because they're not going to, relate to everybody at every one time. So you pick out the ones you want to go to and, have fun that way and meet people, like-minded people. Escapees and their website and information is down below. Now, we have talked to Harvest hosts, had them in this show and several other shows many, many times, and our friend Joel Holland is probably one of the most innovative people in the outdoor hospitality industry. And they have just put together what I call a revolutionary program with an RV manufacturer, with Jayco. Talk about that, Jayco. They have Jayco Adventure Ready program.
Yeah, this is an interesting one, I think, from a marketing perspective. But basically, what it means is there'll be a sticker on all of the Jayco units that attest to it being kind of harvest host ready or adventure ready.
Mhm.
So you can park at any harvest host location. It's going to be interesting to see how it develops, because 90% of the units that are out there are adventure ready today, but they've got an affiliation. So maybe they'll have benefits for Jayco owners, what have you. But they also mentioned that they're going to seek a similar relationship with other
Other
RV
manufacturers.
manufacturers. So
Yep.
basically, it's a self-contained unit, and I think the harvest hosts themselves can feel comfortable that it is in fact working under the guidelines of being a member of Harvest Host. So it'll take off some of the administrative tasks when they check in.
Great. There we go. Now, we have discussed 4 stories tonight. Where do we get these stories, Bob?
From RV Business and Woodall's Campground Magazine.
Our friends Rick Kessler and Ben Quiggle. And we want to thank them for providing us with that content, and let you know that we have 2 great stories coming up right here. Where?
On the Camper Report Show.
Stay with us, everybody.
Mike here from RV Blogger. Don't waste hundreds of dollars on an external GPS for your RV. All you need to do is download the RV Life app right onto your phone. This app is so cool. It has RV GPS built right into it. So you can load all the specific measurements and weights for your RV. It'll give you directions safe for your RV to follow. And by the way, if you have RV Trip Wizard, directions for your trips upload into this GPS automatically.
All right, we're here at the Camper Report Show, and look who I just ran into. My own partner, John DePietro, and Austin Clark. And what are you guys doing? You're sitting here in this beautiful, beautiful MAV from Grand Design.
Well, Bob, we are in Tampa, Florida. We're at the Florida RV Show, day 1, and the crowds are encouraging. As I look out, where I can see, you can't see from that angle, the crowds here at the Grand Design booth are probably as big as they've ever been. I'm with Austin Clark, and Austin, you're kind of like the utility person here. Not that you plug the units in.
I do that too. John.
You've got responsibilities for everywhere. What are people saying about the new Grand Design products? We're even sitting at the new MAV now. So what are people saying?
So people are excited. We have people buzzing around our display area, looking at all the new units and floor plans we have in stock. For example, we're sitting in the new MAV, Momentum Action Vehicle. This is a traditional built travel trailer Momentum, which is amazing so far. So this is a new product we're bringing to the market. We're super excited about it. We have a lot of buzz around it as well.
And you've toy hauled it. You've toy haulered it.
Yep.
I just turned toy hauler into a verb. You have toy hollered a unit that has already been out, the Momentum, into a verb, and this is kind of amazing. What is that, like a 8x8 or?
Yeah, I mean, it has its own patio for you guys to come out here, sit, look at the stars, enjoy some outdoor camping.
In this particular unit, this would turn into a double bed up above us, Bob. I don't know if you can get that. That bed comes down.
It's a bunk bed, yep.
Right, and but the thing I'm noticing, Austin, is the demographics of this show. You've got everything from retirees pushing their dogs. Isn't that amazing? They're pushing the dogs in a stroller, okay?
Yeah.
To young people with kids. And it seems as though Grand Design has a product line that really fits every economic need as well as traveling need for bunks. I mean, you guys are pioneers in bunks, right?
John, that is the beautiful thing about this industry for me. And as Grand Design continues to grow, we continue to reach those market segments where there's a more diverse range of customers. For example, we just came out with our single axle Imagine line called Imagine AIM. That's a great demographic for beginner families looking to begin their camping journey, that lifestyle.
And I think the last time you and I were together at Open House in September, we did an interview.
We did,
in
in
one
the
of those,
AIM.
right, in
I
one of those
remember that.
units. So, you come out with a Momentum, what was Momentum the first?
It was Solitude. So
Solitude.
we started with a high-end luxury
Okay.
Solitude.
And that was, what, 38 feet sometimes?
Yeah, definitely. They can range to 40-some feet too.
Okay, so you got the high end, then you've got middle end, but again, for the first time RVer that may not own a big enough pickup truck for a fifth wheel, you've got the travel trailers with the smaller
Well, we started
needs.
Yeah, we started with a high-end luxury, well-made Solitude unit, and we took all those quality inspections, all those same processes, some of the materials as well, and we carried it through every single market that we have here, all the way down to our entry-level, travel trailers. All the same quality, which is really what Grand Design is made of what it was created for.
Austin,
now-
talk about your QC process at the end of the line before the customers ever get the unit.
Okay, so that's great for bringing up our customer service inspection. So our
He
PDI.
stepped right into my interview. Did
Into
you
your
notice
interview.
that? Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want John to get all the airtime.
Right, exactly.
Exactly.
He's jealous of me
Gotta
because
show
I'm
love.
the younger, more photogenic and
the face of the.
obviously more talented part of this combo. But
Yeah.
anyway, go answer his question.
I see there's a rivalry.
If you
going
can
on.
remember it.
Yeah. So
Oh,
quality,
QC.
quality inspection. Okay, so our quality inspection is unlike anything else out there in the industry. So from day one, we've been doing a PDI, so a pre-delivery inspection, on every single unit that we build, and we continue to do that inspection on all of our brands. Throughout our entire product line, which is amazing. This is a 350-some point inspection. We're virtually taking the campers on their very first camping trip here in the factory before we ever ship it out. We're testing the water lines, the appliances, electrical work, the major functions of that unit, and we're detailing them to make sure that they're ready to be shipped to the customer, because the last thing they want to do is come back or wait to go camping. They want to buy this camper for their families and get out there in nature and just have some experiences as soon as possible.
Now, Austin, one of the things I noticed, we just finished the Boston RV show, and there was a huge Grand Design display. I believe it was in the Campers Inn area.
Right.
And one thing I noticed whenever I went in there was a big poster with a picture of another guy named Clark.
Oh.
When are we going to see some Austin Clark
Posters?
posters in the units as they're ready for retail?
Not
delivery?
anytime soon. We have such an
You were just told that, right?
not anytime soon. We have an amazing team of product managers and people here at Grand Design. I'm blessed to be a part of the organization.
And we want to thank you so much, Mr. Austin Clark. We are at the Grand Design display at the Florida RV show, and this is the Camper Report Show.
All right, welcome back everybody to the Camper Report Show. This morning I've got three people. Normally we have one, but we got a trio of professionals from the Route 66 network: Rob Merrill, Cooper Francis, and Connor Francis and Cooper Merrill. I'll get that squared away. Rob, welcome to the show, and all of you. But Rob, why don't you give us some background? There may be some people out there that are not familiar with the Route 66 network and the role it plays in the RV industry.
Well, thanks. And Bob, thanks for having us. This is a great opportunity to tell a little bit about our story, because it's something we're pretty proud of and that we think has real relevance in the RV industry today. Let me take you all the way back 20 years ago. Well, actually go back further than that. Steve Francis, who's not on the call with us today, and myself and his brother, Dave Francis, started Route 66 back in 2003. So we're coming up on our 20th year right now. And Steve and I's history goes back another 25 years prior to that. So this has been in the incubator for a long time. But Steve and I started off in a pharmaceutical company together back in the early 1980s. And while we were going about our business and trying to bring, pharmaceuticals that would improve the quality and longevity of human life and all this stuff, the way that you purchased your prescriptions was you went to a family pharmacy, an independently owned deal, and it was absolutely the best way to be served as a consumer, and the best way to distribute these much needed medications, because you walked into a pharmacy and 90%, 95% of the time, the guy that was filling the prescription and making sure that the dosage was right and making sure that, you understood the drug interactions and the side effects and all those things, was also the guy whose name was on the lease at the pharmacy. He was the guy who employed all of the, people out front. And there was a level of commitment and care that was unparalleled. And it was clearly the best way for people to receive their health care. The challenge happened, though, while everybody was going about their business and taking care of their customers and studying their stuff to make sure they had all their product knowledge and everything. A little thing happened called CVS, Walgreens, and Walmart. And overnight, the family pharmacy, with the exception of, with some rare exceptions in rural areas or just stubborn, entrepreneurs, 90% of the market went away, and the independent pharmacists never knew what happened. And those folks wound up, most of them, spending the rest of their career with all their training as a pharmacist, working behind the counter in the back of a Walmart or a Target store. And all of them wished that they could have done something different. And Steve and I, and his brother Dave, who owned a brand management marketing agency, said, you know what? Let's do something different in the RV space. It's inevitable that consolidation is going to happen. And you could look around in 100 different industries, and I've got nothing against Applebee's or McDonald's. And I realize that they're huge corporations and they can sponsor bowl games and NASCAR races and do whatever they want to do. They can have TV shows if they want to, because they've got the capital. They can hire lawyers. They can leverage the banks, but they can't provide the level of care to the customer that the individual entrepreneurial family owner can do. So we committed ourselves to doing that in the RV industry. Steve happened to own an RV dealership here in Kansas City, where we're located. And he said, let's go get my friends that are the best independent RV dealers in America. And let's first of all paint the picture of not what could happen, but what's going to happen. And, Bob, as we flash forward into the 2020s, we're seeing it, right? We're seeing
Absolutely.
the consolidation. Heck, during this COVID period, when the numbers got a little higher, there have been a growth of Jimmy John's and McDonald's and Burger King RV dealerships all over the place. We still stand with the independent guy. And it's primarily because of our conviction that an RV purchase and owning an RV is a huge deal. Kind of like my wedding anniversary. I do eat at McDonald's and I do go to Applebee's, but not for my anniversary, not for a big deal. And we think owning an RV is a big deal. So we want to help consumers when they travel, take care of them. And we think if you're going to go in and spend a lot of money on an RV, you ought to be able to shake hands with the guy whose name is on the side of the building, just like it was.
Well, I've watched the network grow. This is my 27th year of covering the RV industry. So I've watched it grow, and I've always loved the flavor that you put to it about the independent business person, which there's always going to be a market for that. I mean, we understood that consolidation was a natural impact in any corporate environment, to your point. I sold my document imaging company to a consolidator 20 years ago. So I've gone through that in another industry. But it doesn't put the small people out of business. In fact, my argument has always been it enhances the independent dealer and the role that they play. Connor and Cooper, what as the second generation coming along, and you look at this history of the network, where do you see the next 20 years? And maybe one of you take one aspect, the other take the other aspect. But you're in a very solid space. You got a rock solid foundation. You got, well, Connor, give me the numbers about the number of dealers and service base and technicians. Why it's important that people look at the Route 66 network as they would look at a mega dealer, but in a completely different way, because each of the members are individual independent businesses.
Yeah, Bob, and thanks for having us on the show as well. We really appreciate this opportunity. You know, when Rob talks about the history and the heritage of Route 66, I think Cooper and I both can agree that we kind of feel like we're walking on the shoulders of giants. I mean, they've left a terrific foundation for us to continue what they're doing, continue what Rob and Steve and my Uncle Dave started, by continuing to serve the independent RV dealer. So when we think about how we're talking to new dealers that are coming on board, and we've got over 150 locations in the United States, we don't feel like that story is going out of style, that you want to buy from an independent guy. And it really helps that independent guy to say, when I was just talking to a dealer last week, a Camping World is moving in town, how do I compete? Well, they're going to brag about the number of service bays and technicians that they've got. And we've got 1,500 plus service bays and over 2,000 RVIA certified technicians. And when that customer's in a pickle or in a bind and they need help, they can walk in and meet with an owner or a service advisor who works for an owner that has the same look and feel and aroma of that same great integrity and customer service commitment that the dealer they bought from had. And that's important, especially when technicians are in as high a demand as they are and service bays are filling up. It is great to go in and be treated when you're out of state, especially like you bought it from there. So
yeah, that's one of the really interesting features. Cooper, take it from there and tell me what the commitment is that a dealer makes when he forms a partnership with the Route 66 network. What is he saying to you as the organizing body, but what is he also saying to his customers?
At the highest level, it is a commitment a dealer is making to take care of other Route 66 dealers' customers the way that they would take care of their own. What that looks like is there's discounts in part stores. There's a 10% off discount that customers will get at other Route 66 dealers as they travel. But at the highest level, like I said, if someone needs help and they are traveling, they're camping, and they are away from home, that there's going to be a Route 66 dealer nearby that they can go to help them out. And you are making that promise yourself for other Route 66 dealers customers. So it's basically a promise. We call it a promise. That's sort of our core deal that you agree to when you join the network, is that you are promising to take care of other network dealers' customers.
Yeah.
And can I add to that, Bob, too, that every business has a strategy.
Right.
And all of our dealers have their own strategy, and that's what earned them the reputation that they have. If we were a multinational global business, with stockholders and whatnot, we'd have a lot of strategy to serve the interests of those folks. I think one of the things that makes this unique is our strategy is to bring together 10 dealers twice a year from our group and say, what do you need to compete? What resources would you have if money was no object? What would you be able to offer to your customers in terms of technical assistance when they travel 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? What type of discounts and savings and security things? Because Route 66 is about peace of mind. Our slogan is, wherever the road takes you, you can count on us. So if you're a consumer, they're believing that and saying, that's why I want to buy from a Route 66 dealers, because they're they're not only going to sell me this thing, but they're going to help me own it and operate it most cost effectively. So our strategy is to come to our dealers and say, what do you need? And then prioritize those things. And then Route 66, the Connors and the Coopers and the Robs and our staff of 25 folks here in the office, we get up every morning to meet the needs of our dealers so that they can meet the needs of their customers.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that's interesting about this business, and I don't have anything against mega dealers, as you say, it exists in every industry. But there are some people who want to buy from a large national company, and that's where they want to go. But there's a lot of people who still want to go to that local pharmacy. And it's a great analogy, because we all grew up in that environment, that they want to go to the independent dealer. And you mentioned Camping World earlier. You know, I wrote an article back in October 21 in RV Pro, and it was called David versus Goliath, and David being the independent dealer. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I was independent in my business, but the fact of the matter is that we have to compete against the big ones, and the big ones have to compete against the independents. So it's not a one-sided battle. You all put the best foot forward. And one of the quotes I had in the article, and I'm surprised I didn't get more kickback on it, and I have great respect for Camping World and Blue Compass and everybody that's in the industry, but I put a line in there that said every independent dealer should go to bed at night and hope that a mega dealer opens up across the street from them. And I mean that sincerely, because the mega dealers got a lot of bucks to advertise. They put a lot of shows. They bring a lot of people into the marketplace. And if that's what brought them into the marketplace, that's fine. But when they pull out of the driveway and they look across the street and there's an independent dealer, guess what? They're going to stop there too. They didn't go that distance. So they're going to have an opportunity to look at the independent dealer. And if that's their flavor, that's what they buy. If they like the big one, that's what they buy.
And, you know, and Bob, and I want to throw this back to Cooper, because he got involved with us through technology and digital marketing and websites and phone apps and the things. You know, what we think consumers want, and I'd love your thoughts on this, is they want both. They want the convenience that Rocket Mortgage has, where you can go, or Zillow, and find a house, find a car, find insurance, find a mortgage without talking to anybody until they need to talk to somebody. Right? It's great to not have to have all these people involved until you need the people. And we think that the RV space, particularly with all the different things that can go wrong, you need people. So you need to be able to talk to a person and get help when you need it. And we don't want to tell our dealers, hey, you can't have those same technology tools. We want them to have both.
I think that's a tremendous strategy, because you're right. We want all that stuff until we have a problem, we have an issue. But the problem is, in many of those large corporations, you can't find the person, you can't talk to the person, you can't find the person.
Oftentimes, you can't even find a phone number on a website, because they've developed their strategy to avoid contact as opposed to facilitate it.
I actually had that situation come up yesterday, where I tried to get a hold of somebody, went through the whole website and couldn't find it. Cooper, from a technology standpoint, what are some of the things that you provide to the dealers, but also to the consumer? Because, you know, some consumers will find your website and then find a dealer. Some will find a dealer and they say, well, they're a member of Route 66. What is Route 66? So how is the future technology playing into that?
Yeah. So one of the, as we mentioned earlier in the call, one of the core priorities for Route 66 is to equip our dealers with resources and tools to help them be competitive in their markets. And so over the last 12 years, a big priority of how Route 66 has supported dealers is through digital marketing, web development, trying to help them be competitive as people are shopping online, and giving them great avenues through which they can not only attract customers to their site, but also display their inventory, give those customers pretty much all the information, and help them in their shopping process. So that's a big part of what we do for dealers. As far as customers, we have a customer loyalty program called RV Club, which provides an array of different resources to customers that as they are in their ownership period of their camper. One of the big things that's a part of our RV club is a technical assistance line that people can call 24/7, 365 days a year to talk to a certified technician to help them troubleshoot any issue they're having. And something that we released within the last year on the technology side is a mobile app that's really, really sleek, easy to use. And that has really increased the utilization of people calling that technical assistance line. We have an upgraded version of that club that includes roadside assistance as well. So we had these programs for years and years, but recently have developed technology to make that easier for our customer to access through, if you've got an Android, it's on the Google Play Store, this app that's, again, very easy to use. But again, that's an example of something that we built internally to help enhance customers' experiences they're camping and give them access to some technology, make that available to the independent dealer that other big companies have. That's something that bigger competitors have the resources to build. That's something that we took on ourselves to build, to give to our dealers. That is really cool technology. That's, the mobile app is on par with, the big other clubs out there. So that came to mind as an example of kind of what we're trying to do to build technology and make that available to our dealers.
That's fantastic. We're going to wrap up here pretty soon. I could probably talk to you for 8 hours, but one of the things that I love about that is giving that tool to both the dealers and the consumer. Because one of the things, it's a fact of business. I mean, people see consolidations. We talk about that a lot. But many times on consolidation, where a large company buys an independent dealer, the independent dealer doesn't stick around. That's because they're entrepreneurs. So you lose that particular focus. Whereas in your network, it's still the owner, it's still the entrepreneur, it's still the business that you had. What you're doing is supplementing a lot of the services that the ease of scaling it amongst all of those dealers puts them in the same category. But if you want to call that independent dealer, they're still there and the services are there. Anything before we close? We've got Rob Merrill, Cooper Francis, and Connor Merrill here from the Route 66 network. Any closing statements?
I think, Bob, again, thank you for this opportunity to kind of tell our story. But I think we can't ask a customer to compromise in any way. So we have to pay attention to what the quote unquote big box stores are doing. So we've got to give the competitive pricing the same or better level of service and access and all those things. But our ultimate goal in this whole thing is that if you buy a camper and you buy it from one of our dealers, you have the best RVing experience as a consumer, whether that's trying to find parts or trying to get service or trying to save money when you do have a breakdown or buying insurance for it or whatever. We want to lower your cost and increase your convenience of ownership. And if we do that well and combine that with the experience and the commitment of these independent business owners, we believe we have the best business model to deliver value to the RV consumer that exists in the world. And we're proud of it. We're excited about it. And we think the future is really bright because of that.
Well, it is, and you've proven it over 20 years. So you're not the new kids on the block. So now we got the young bucks coming in. So Connor and Cooper, you got 20 years behind you. You got big boots to fill. What's the excitement for you? What do you look forward to going forward here?
It's very exciting around here. Yes. And the landscape is changing. And like Rob said, we have our advisory board to lean on directly in the weeds and the trenches. What do you guys need to be competitive? What are your biggest competitors doing? And then what do? We serve them, we build stuff, and we help them sell a lot more RVs and treat their customers fantastic.
Yeah, I'm very excited as well. And like Connor said, the landscape's changing. But we've been adapting to it, and we're really excited. A big part of that has been adding on new independent dealers in different parts of the country where maybe some acquisitions have happened. And so we're really excited about recent additions to the network. We're really excited about new initiatives we're pursuing to help dealers face the challenges that are in front of them right now. And we're going to keep on doing that as the challenges change, moving forward. And so, yeah, we're really optimistic and excited for what's next.
All right, guys, thank you very much for taking time this morning. I know you're all busy, and it's a great overview of the Route 66 network. Thanks for being part of the Camper Report Show today.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks,
Thanks, Bob. And hey, anybody that's on here that we didn't answer their questions, I don't know if you can post our website or whatever, but there's a lot of information available.
Yep, we'll do that.
Thanks, brother.
All right.